with you, always.
For years. Now she's producing the new series, The Acolyte. Please welcome my friend and yours. Our next guest has been working on Star Wars as part of the Lucasfilm development team for years. Now she's producing the new series, The Acolyte. Please welcome my friend and yours, Rain Roberts.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, nice to see you.
You too. I love seeing you. It's such a joy for me. Yay. Now let's talk. What's it like working with Leslie on this series?
Leslie's like a dream come true filmmaker that you get to meet when you're working on Star Wars, because I had been tracking her independent films for a while, watching her films at Sundance. And when she came in, the first time I met her, when she came in my office and seemed to know everything about Star Wars, I was truly shocked. And just so pleasantly surprised, because she also immediately pitched me this incredible emotional story that was very personal to her that fit inside the Star Wars mythology. So that's kind of like the gold star of a filmmaker that you get to work with. And she's an absolute delight. We have a lot of fun. It's like working with your friend. And there's lots of hugging and crying and pushing each other, but it's been really, really fun.
I love that. And it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic plays into what we see as far as the relationships on screen as well.
Absolutely, you're going to totally see all of that. It's just very dear to her, and it's been a pleasure to witness her bring this to life and to support her through her journey, like making this like kind of like a masterpiece really for her. So I think people love it.
Now, how do you go about creating the feel of Star Wars in a new era that we've never seen before in live action?
Well, one of the things I've had the pleasure to learn from working under Kathy for all these years is like you just get the best people you can get. So in terms of like building out this world, we were really lucky to get Kevin Jenkins, who was the production designer on Rise of Skywalker and also has been a concept artist at ILM and Lucasfilm on a lot of our films for years and years. And he was just really excited to like create a new world, a new era that's distinct from what you've seen before. And then we've just got the best costume designers that were looking at the drawings inside the High Republic book series. We've got an amazing hair and makeup team. Take from the mythology, take what we know, but add, like, as George Lucas likes to say, and Doug Chiang, like 20% more new to make it feel a little bit different, but also of the world that we all know. So I think you'll be excited to see some of the colors that we use in our spaceships, and you'll obviously see that costumes of the Jedi are referencing the High Republic era, but all of it is really fresh, and we just had a really great team.
Now, what about The Acolyte are you most excited for the fans to see?
For me, I think what I'm excited for the fans to see is we have the best cast that anyone could ever ask for. They are truly, truly remarkable. Like the work they put into their performances, into building out their characters, and as they talked about earlier in Celebration Stage, the stunt training and all of the things they've learned is so incredible to watch. And I think all of them, I mean, everyone is just at the top of their game, and they're also a beautiful friend group too. So I think that's what you guys will enjoy seeing the most is the cast.
Absolutely. And just the dynamic we've seen so far today, just the dynamic between Rebecca and Jodie, and between Charlie and Daphne, and you and Leslie, your friendship, I'm really excited for what we're going to see on the screen, and I'm just always really excited to talk to you. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Thanks to all the Star Wars fans for being here. I love you guys.
There's probably an old joke in Star Wars somewhere that starts off with a Moff, a Magistrate, and a Mandalorian armorer walk into Navarro. What that punchline is, we may never know. Or we'll find out right now. Please welcome from The Mandalorian, Giancarlo Esposito, Carl Weathers, and Emily Swallow!
everybody. This is
Wow. Oh,
bonkers.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Why is it that I feel like I've come home?
Wow.
Oh!
Hello. Oh my gosh, I feel so rude. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you get my back. You
Hi,
love that,
guys.
don't you? Oh, man.
There's a large amount of charm on this
Okay,
stage
come
right
on.
now.
There
It's
you go.
beautiful
There
to
you
see.
go. How's that? That's a little better. Good grief.
Hello.
Oh, thank you all so much for joining me today. It's so
Thank
great to
you.
have you.
Thank you, London. Thank you, UK. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hold on. I know we have a schedule here, but Giancarlo gave me a great idea.
You guys better send me those pictures. I don't have my phone.
You guys are about to be on Carl Weathers' Instagram.
Ease the moment. Okay, come on, let's go. Oh, yeah. Keep going, don't slow down. Okay, now I feel welcome. Thank you so much.
Hey! You were the first person to do it. I've been so excited for somebody to get comfortable, truly.
You know, at this point in time, I gotta relax, baby.
Wait, I just
Listen,
realized
I am
where
here
we
for
are.
it.
I did not even look at where the heck we are.
Yes!
You guys, what do you want me to make you?
There you go, the armor.
Right here.
We did this for
I
you,
feel like
Emily.
Is this like a new show that we're having?
Oh,
This is the way, Emily.
At Home with the Armorer. We're gonna interview. I'm gonna make you some new armor while we're talking. What does everybody want? You get an armor. You get some armor. You get some armor.
Listen, I don't even have to welcome them because they truly are already at home.
yes. By the way, this reminds me a lot of my grill at home, okay? All the hamburgers and hot dogs are done right on something like this. The armorer can come over and pound them with their hammer. and
It's
do
a
all
meat
kinds of
tenderizer.
shaping, and man, this is cool. Whoever built this set, let's give them a round of applause.
Let's hear it for our prop builders. What's it been like for you all to... All right. What's it been like to just be a part of Star Wars for you all this last couple of years? It's The Mandalorian. You all are... The reception to you all, just the joy that you have in being a part of it is just really palpable. And for you, Carl, what's been a great part of this for you, being a part of Star Wars?
Wow. Well, yeah, sure. I'll tell them. We are all really, really, really fortunate because these two people, Emily and Giancarlo, have been working for so long, as have I. You don't have an opportunity, let alone have the success that this show has had. And to be a part of that, first of all, is spectacular. But on the other side of it is, just as an entertainer, as an actor, to be able to work with people of this caliber who turn in the kind of performances they do, and that you all love them, means I just want to work with them more and more and more, because if I'm in a scene with them, then you're going to love me too. Self-centered.
Hi, Giancarlo.
Hi.
Where you been this season? Where you been this season?
Where have I been?
Yeah.
I've been cooking up some stuff. Yeah, you know, I've been in the woodshed trying to figure it out. But I'm coming with it all. Oh yeah, baby.
One of my greatest moments from Celebration last year was sitting on the stage with you, and you gave one of the most rousing, heartwarming speeches that I've ever heard. Go look it up online. It was beautiful. And
Well, you know, look, to extend on what Carl said, this is a dream come true. To get to do what you love to do, and everyone in this room can achieve that. To be able to create to be able to be on fire, to be able to be excited, to be able to be enthused, to be able to be inspired by your co-creators, each and every one of them. This is a dream come true because, believe it or not, you dream your biggest dream, your deepest dream, your highest dream, and you do that every day, and before you know it, it's right at your front door. That's
Let
all
me
I
get a
know.
word. Now, Carl, Grief's role and your role as a director have evolved over the years and over the seasons. What's that been like for you to, I mean, The Foundling was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, get on it. Just,
By the way, The Foundling was all about Grogu. Grogu put money in my pocket, so I made him look good.
what's that transition been like for you?
Transition. It feels like a very long transition since I've been directing since '93. It just takes what it takes. But no matter what you do, and I think Giancarlo really expressed it really well, it's not just about the dream for me, it's about the quality of the dream. It's how you dream the dream, which will ultimately, hopefully, allow you to deliver in the way that you manifested through the way you dream the dream. So the transition, if you will, is still ongoing. I feel like there's decades and decades and decades more to go. And learning the craft, being able to watch all the great directors that I've ever either worked with and or observed their work, and working with great material and working with great actors, man, that's a part of the dream. So the transition is ongoing. I'm just having a damn good time doing what I'm doing, you know?
We're having a good time watching it.
Thank you.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
This season, we've seen the Armorer evolve from a recurring guest to a supporting cast member. What's it been like for you to take on this role and a larger role in this story?
I love that she's getting a little more involved in people's business. And that she's not somebody to force things on anybody. But she is gently suggesting in a little more suggestive way, which I think is great. And I like it. I like that she's making some new friends. I like that she's making some new armor in Carl's episode. It was a great joy to make some more gigantic armor for Grogu. Can we talk about that? I mean, I thought he was gonna fall over when I put it on him. Can he really walk around wearing that thing?
If you force him to.
He can do,
if
he
you
can do
force-
anything.
If you force him to, whoa.
Come on! You knew what this was. No. Now let's see. Emily, I'm going to ask you again. Did
Okay.
you think that your line, "This is the way," would take on such cultural significance within the fandom?
Holy cow, this is the way.
Let's hear it!
Yay!
I mean, no, I had no idea. And I have to tell you, anytime someone brings me something to sign, a poster or something, and one of my other castmates has signed it, say, like, I don't know, Carl. And Carl has signed it, and he has written, "This is the way."
What can I say? Emily said it, it is the way, okay?
Yeah, I say, I'm the one that said that first. And how dare he take that from me? But I let him have it.
I just copy the best.
I let him have
always
it.
copy the best.
Sincerest form of flattery. Yes. Giancarlo, we know how your character feels about Grogu, but how has it been for you working with Grogu?
That child is absolutely enchanting. I mean, you can't, undeniably so. I mean, what a great scene partner to have. My interaction, my first conversation with Jon Favreau, when I met the child back then, before he was even or she was even Grogu, I said, this is the star of the show, and I want every scene with that child. Cutest child ever.
It's one of my favorite things on Instagram is following your adventures with people bringing Grogu to meet you.
It's really been quite exciting. People put babies in my arms at certain events dressed as Grogu, and it's just the sweetest, cutest thing.
Now, Carl, Greef is really coming to his own this season. Is it more fun to play this character now that my question is, how is it now that he has more swagger? How is it to play him with your own swagger?
Okay, I'm really, it's just terrible that I've got my back to you the whole time.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to answer the question if I may. I would have asked Grogu to get all the people on this side over here and all the people. It would take forever to get him here because he's such a diva. He wants, he'll sit in his trailer until he's ready to come out. So I'm just going to face these folks over here. Number one, John and Dave continue to write such great stories for every episode, right? So let's give them some props. Yeah. And what they've done is they've given, in my opinion, all of these characters growth through the first 3 seasons. We all began where we were when the story was introduced, and Grogu itself had a certain place it began, and it's growing now as it's learning to fend for itself and fight and do all these exercises. So how does it feel? It feels fantastic to have a role where you can have an arc. You can start in a place and see that character grow. And every actor knows that what you're really utilizing is all your experience in life, the things you've written, the things you've seen, what you know about life, that you then infuse that character and that growth with those experiences and your knowledge, et cetera, et cetera. So it just gives me a chance more to dig a little deeper as an actor. And of course, as a director, it gives me a chance to dig a little deeper there to try to tell the story that I imagined when I first read the script. Does that make any sense to anybody? Okay, there's the answer.
I love that we got to see a softer side of Greef 2 episodes ago.
There's no softness to
Oh,
Greef
but there
Karga.
was.
Greef Karga's a manly
there was,
man.
and
He
I
ain't
saw
soft.
it.
There's no softness
Who
in
else
Greef
saw
Karga.
it? Because I did. It was
Now,
there.
Grogu tells me that all the time. Oh, you're just such a sweetheart. No, I'm not.
Starting with you, Giancarlo, is there anything that you'd like to say to the fans?
This show is explosive, and you've come on a journey with us, and so we want to say thank you. There is more to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If this show can be reflective of all of your lives, your hopes and dreams, your trust and faith and confidence in yourselves, that's what this show's about. I really love that we have such loyal fans who watch the show and not only get the message of this show, but are empowered by it. You know, it builds courage, it builds self-esteem, it builds all of visionary. The show is visionary in its visuals, and it takes you to a place you've never been before. So thank you for being with us.
Well, this season has been absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to watch the season finale. Please give it up one more time for Giancarlo Esposito, Carl Weathers, and Emily Swallow.
In Andor, she's cold, ruthless, and undeniably British, but in reality, she's actually warm, kind, and undeniably Irish. Joining her is an actor whose character had plenty of parental issues because Star Wars, and they've brought with them the suspiciously well-connected mechanic. Here from Andor are Denise Goff, Kyle Soller, and Adria Arjona. welcome.
Hey, hey, hey.
How are you?
Everyone.
Yeah, like,
God.
how are you guys?
Oh my gosh.
This is going to be
Wow.
quite hard to focus.
I know, there's a lot going on.
Wow, this is amazing. Okay.
I've got sort of baby squirrel brain, so I'm like all over the place when I'm out here.
Yeah, head on a swivel, head on a swivel.
Oh, well, welcome. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
It was wonderful to see just a little bit of a preview of Andor Season 2 this morning. Did y'all see it? It's very good.
We watched it for the first time while we were up there, so that was pretty exciting. So we
Yeah.
watched it with you guys.
Wow. How'd it feel seeing it?
It's amazing
it
to
feels
see it
amazing.
again. It feels like
You
forever.
saw it already?
No, to see the show again.
Oh, to see the show. I was like,
To see the show again. It feels like so long since it's been out, and to actually see all the characters and all the new stuff they're doing and all the.
and we
growth,
don't really
like-
see each other a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So you get to see all the people that you work with do
Yeah.
their thing as well. So I'm so excited. I'm such a fan of my own show. It's great.
Well, I loved the first season of Andor so much, and your three characters in particular are so.
Yeah, but who
wonderful.
was your favorite? I mean, come on.
Biggs.
It's.
Jokes.
Oh my
jokes.
gosh! Look over there. No, no, but I love all of your characters for different reasons, and I mean the one thing that is common to all of them is they're very unique for Star Wars characters. They're not sides of Star Wars characters we normally get to see, like. The crushing mundanity of working for the Empire is something very kind of newish, right? In the classic films, when most people think about Star Wars, they think about like, well, if you work in the Death Star, you probably know you're a bad guy, right? Like that's the long time joke about Star Wars. But if you work in a cubicle or in an office, you maybe don't know that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's to see behind the scenes and, like you said, find actually the drama in the mundane of it. And also it's so, because it's written so well, you don't really know whose side to be on, even though you're aware it's the Empire. Like it always really struck me that people kind of loved Dedra to begin with, and then it was like, sorry, she's super evil. You know, but all the way through those early episodes, they were like, oh, she's like a woman in a man's world, and it's really hard for her, and you go, girl. And then it was like, hey, Bix, so sorry, but just
Right.
a little torture.
You realize after like a few episodes of rooting for this person, it's like, oh, I don't want her to get promoted because that means she's right and she's going after everybody, and this is horrible.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love about Bix is like, you know, classic Star Wars. When my family thinks about Star Wars and watches like the movies, they think about, well, okay, the Empire catches you, and then somebody with a lightsaber comes, and you're good. And we don't often get to see like the long-term effects of what the Empire can do to somebody. And so it was rough to watch Bix go through it.
I know. Thanks, girl.
I think it bonded
Really appreciated
them.
that one.
She needed it.
She helped you be your best self.
Yeah, you had an awakening as a result of what happened.
That is
Dedra.
very true. Yeah, I think
Happy to help.
You become sort of like a survivalist living under the Empire, and I think that's what Bix sort of is. She had to survive, and I think in season 2 that's kind of the exciting part, and I cannot wait. I wish I could say it all.
Go ahead, it's fine.
All right, should I? Why not? There's like so much time happens by the time that we catch up in season 2, and then there's so many little increments of time that passes throughout season 2. So I'm just excited for everyone to see the development and the growth of every character. I think you'll get to see like 3 different versions of every character in season 2. And for me, it's super exciting because, you know, we left Bix off season 1 in such a dark and torturous place. That this time around, I think you'll get to see a very different version of her.
Yeah. Kyle, for you, my card just says, what's it like to play a jerk?
Ouchie.
Yeah, I mean, I've been asking myself that same question for a year and a half. Yeah, man, it's really hard. It's like, no, it's been fun because he's his own worst enemy, and he's so conflicted, and he is such a job's worth, and he is such a wannabe superhero.
Yeah.
And feels that he's these delusions of grandeur where he feels like everybody is failing before him, and in many cases they are. And he really just wants to do a good job, and he wants to be the best son for his mother as well. And it's just like, it's very touching, but it's very conflicted, and he doesn't actually know what he wants. And he's really unformed. He's not an adult yet, in my opinion. And seeing that side of the Empire, of this just like absolute boring mundanity of like the Empire finding its feet, becoming the bloated sort of large structure that we find in A New Hope, and Cyril sort of navigating his way through the like weird corporate structure of that is like, I started reading those scripts. I was like, what? This isn't Star Wars. This is like, and then he's having cereal with his mom.
Dude, I was just the cereal thing. Yeah.
It's all about the cereal. The
It's
character
all
is
about
in
the
the cereal.
cereal.
Like,
If you had told me 2 years ago that one of the most stressful Star Wars scenes I'd ever see in my life is just a dude eating cereal
with his mom, man.
He's just living at home and he's got to eat cereal.
The struggle is real for Cyril. It's like it's hard, man. It's hard being a jerk. Yeah.
But this is what I love, is because like you start out rooting for Dedra and then you're like, maybe not Dedra, and you really, really hate Cyril, and then you sort of find a little bit of like, oh, I feel for the guy a little bit, but it's nice that they keep reminding us every few episodes just how bad these people can be.
They're all bad people.
They're all bad people.
Yeah, and even the heroes are so multifaceted and dark and a bit not awesome as well. So, that's the strength of Tony
it's writing,
Gilroy, right? He
great
created
writing.
these characters who are not just good or evil. They're very conflicted and sit in the middle.
They kind of all live in the gray,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love, one of the things that I love about Bix is she's also surrounded by people who are like not the best, but doing their best in their own way. And her constantly having to make choices about like, am I going to go to bat for this person again? Am I going to like support this person again? Is it really worth it to like have this good heart? It's like, it's got to be an intense thing to play.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to play someone as good as Bix. I'm like, girl, just quit, man. Quit it. You're too good.
Yeah.
You're too good.
That dude is a bad boyfriend. That dude is a bad friend. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she stands up for her people, and I don't. It's specific to Bix, but I think it's also specific to Ferrix. I think if you're from Ferrix, there's something culturally inside of you that you protect one another, you look out for one another, you're constantly trying to figure things, you're constantly trying to survive. So when a friend asks for your help, you help the person, even though you know that it's gonna be to your own detriment.
Yeah.
And Bix was very aware that sending that message was gonna spiral things, because that's kind of what Cassian does, right? He means so well, and sort of things kind of there's always something behind the curtain.
Yeah.
But that's her friend. They grew up together, and I think Bix looks up to Marva. If she wants to be like anybody, is like Marva.
Yo,
And
we all want to be like Marva, though.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
man.
all want to be like Marva,
100%.
Even Marva, when she's dead, we aspire to be, because she gets turned into a brick that
Yeah.
then smashes someone in the face.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
That's focus.
Oh, so good. Never gives up. So good.
Dedication, Marva.
Pre-planning. Yeah.
That episode was so wonderful, and I think that's something that's so wonderful about the series as a whole, is there are multiple times during that episode where I was like, that's the best monologue that's ever been given in Star Wars. That's some of the best dialogue that's ever been spoken in Star Wars. And I feel like Andor is like that all the time.
Because it's Tony and Bo and Dan. They are,
Big time.
it's such a gift. And when you read them, like when you're in the privileged position of being allowed to read the scripts, like when I signed up, I read the first 3 episodes and I'm not even in them. So usually I'm like, I'm out if I'm not in the first 3. But I read the first 3 episodes and I thought, oh, this is magic. This is like old school storytelling where you're just going to focus on the setup. Like he sets it up in those first 3, and then he kind of takes it home in the last, and in the center he just gives you all the meat. It's amazing to get to work on something like that. I mean, his dad won a Pulitzer Prize and everything. You know, this guy is from writing stock, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's a gift of a job in every way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to ask, you two particularly have maybe the most clocked runtime of any Star Wars, sci-fi maybe, of just cold, dead staring. Cold, dead staring.
Yeah.
You two have some of the best just like,
Yeah, but it was my favorite. I can't even tell you. I remember asking for another take so that I could do this. And just
the eyebrows!
I have wanted to do that on any show my whole life. I was like, oh, please, can I do that thing where you look up and it's all really dramatic and then you just raise a tiny bit of your eyebrow. And then it just became like, what else can I make twitch?
And I just asked to not speak. And just stare. That's easier for me.
It's just easier
Yeah,
for me
it's
if I
cleaner,
don't
yeah.
have to read things and can just show up and stare. That'd
Yeah,
be great. No,
yeah.
I have to ask, so everybody doesn't really come together until later in the season. So when the two of you come together and it's just staring contest time,
It's going to be amazing.
how was that?
But that was our first day. It was our first time ever working together, and it was our first scene that we shot of the whole thing, and then we worked backwards. I mean, I'm trying to find ways. Yeah, and I was really concerned. I was like, what, so Dedra gets saved? Like, I don't want that to happen. And then we thought, well, Dedra can get saved, but she doesn't have to be happy about it. So we figured out that she would go in the room and find the most dangerous looking object and like put it up against his neck. But then it was just me and Kyle like this.
Yeah, having a standoff.
It
I
was
know.
so brilliant.
Yeah, it turned out amazing.
I'm saying that as
y'all
like,
stared for a long
I'm
time.
not being
but,
arrogant.
Like the emotion of the scene, like really ran through like the whole spectrum. Did I pick up on like a moment? Was there a moment? Was there like a moment?
Who knows?
Was there a moment? Was there a moment? Did you? Was there like a moment? Was there a moment?
Yeah, you hope there's a
Did you?
moment.
Did you?
And if you pay me enough, I'll tell you. Just meet me out there. I'm easy to get information out
Yeah,
of.
yeah. I told my 7-year-old nephew everything, so
Yeah.
find him. He's out
Yeah.
there somewhere.
People in our families know the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. There's so much that Cyril wants from Dedra that, and I think they're after the same object, which
Yeah.
is Cassian.
She
an objective,
represents a lot to him.
Oh, there's so much aspirational qualities. I mean, he wants to be in the ISB. I mean, that's the best thing that could ever happen to him. And her tailoring is impeccable.
And she's just like,
she's-
how is it him? Oh God! Trying to compute that I then have to be grateful. Like Dedra has to. And what I love though is Tony didn't write her saying thank you. He said. She says, I suppose I should thank you. And
Yes.
yeah, you should. And when he says you don't have to,
You don't
she's
have
like,
to.
oh, thank God. Okay, right, what do we do now? We have to leave this 7 minutes in heaven. That's what we call that little closet now.
So what was it like? Like you're saying, everybody was kind of off in their own corner. You know, you're working with 1 or 2 characters throughout the entire season. What was it sort of like for you at the end of the season when everybody was sort of coming together in the same place?
Oh, it was. I mean, first you get to see, other people's work and kind of get to know the characters. I read the scripts multiple times, and I knew these characters, but then seeing them sort of created or having them come alive in front of me was pretty great. I didn't actually interact, I don't interact with your character at all, but we got to have that one scene, and I remember it was towards the end.
Somebody was clapping for that scene, and you're allowed. You are always allowed to clap.
Definitely allowed.
Definitely. Because this woman right here is so brilliant, and she just took over the room. It's true. I mean, you all watch the scene. You all know I'm not lying.
Yeah, but you had to watch it like 150 times.
And I was fascinated by it every single time. It was so Well, and just to see her and meet Dinter for the first time was really cool. And then to watch the show.
But it's also, I will tell you, it's not easy as an actor to sit when somebody else is doing all the like walking and talking, and Adria had to sit for that whole day giving absolutely everything in every moment. And I thought, God, she's just really. Some actors, when they're not on camera, they don't do anything, believe me. But you did everything all the time. It was such a gift. And I'm a show-off, so I loved it.
I mean, it really does seem like from top to bottom, everybody on this show just really loves each other's work and respects each other so much.
I mean, it never. I'm backstage with like the two guys that you had on before. Like, I'm in awe of everyone's work all the time, and to get to have them all as my peers, as people, my colleagues, I'm like, I can't believe I'm in a show that is this good, but also it's Star Wars. Like, it's introduced. I never knew any of this, and now I'm obsessed. So.
We got another one.
Yeah.
We got another one.
Seriously, I mean, it's just the world that is kept alive and created by this whole like fandom. Is that what it's called? Like yeah.
I'd say family. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
like,
it's a huge thing that you just think, oh my God, it's because of all of this that we get to be here, you know. But for me, I got to work with also the best theater actors in London that I've worked with for years. Like Kyle's work I've known for years. Genevieve. I mean, Genevieve.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? What Genevieve?
So amazing.
So amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
Mon Mothma's couch of sadness in her apartment, where every time somebody sits on that couch, I'm just like, oh no.
Oh no, it's coming.
I need her apartment
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, impeccable. Well, we are so excited to have you all as part of the Star Wars galaxy. We love Andor so much. We're excited for this.
What do we
No,
need to do with this
Denise.
stuff?
You almost made it. No, Denise, you almost made it the whole
Step away
interview.
from Adria.
Denise, thank you so much for hanging out. Please, applause for Denise Goff, Kyle Soller, and Adria Arjona.
For over 40 years, our next guest has been a staple in your film collections. From Indiana Jones to Star Wars and every major blockbuster in between, we promise you'll recognize our next guest. It's the president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great.
Kathy.
This is great. Everybody looks so good. I walked the floor this morning. I saw all the cool stuff. I didn't have enough time to go back and buy things, but I will. So
It is just a sea of people.
Sea of people. Sea of people. Did you guys watch some of the Ahsoka panel? Cool, huh? Great reveal. Great reveal.
Fantastic. Now, I know this is Star Wars Celebration, but my first question is actually about Indiana Jones, if we'll allow it. For you personally, having been a part of Indiana Jones from the beginning, what has this 40-plus year journey been like for you?
You know, it's actually, and I think you guys remember how emotional that Harrison got when he was talking about this. It's pretty amazing when you're involved in something that spanned this amount of time. And I think what you'll see is the minute this movie starts, you're going to feel like you were thrown right back in time. I mean, it is 100% an Indiana Jones movie, and that's how it felt every minute we were making it. So, very exciting.
Very awesome. I'm so excited. I know everyone here is very excited for Indy as well. But let's talk about Star Wars, because it is Star Wars Celebration. That's what we're here for. Star Wars storytelling has really evolved a lot in the last decade. To you, what makes a great Star Wars story?
What what? Sorry.
What makes a great Star Wars story?
Oh gosh, I think there's many things that make a great Star Wars story. You know, the incredible thing that George left us was amazing mythology. And it's very expansive and it has meaning. That was the thing that George said to me over and over again, is whatever you do, make sure it has meaning. And I think that's what resonates with so many of us who love Star Wars, is it makes you feel something. And that's what we try to do with every single story we tell, is we're just trying to create characters that people can relate to and you have some connection to.
And when you look out at these cosplays, I think we can say a lot of people have a deep, deep connection to some of those characters. They want to walk around all day in those costumes. They want to bring them to life from animation. But you're also evolving the Star Wars storytelling quite a bit. When you're developing new talent to bring into the fold, can you tell us, can you quantify what you look for?
You know, I look for people who have something to say. That's the first thing, is when somebody comes in, they have a love of Star Wars, but the second question is, what do you have to say? What are you trying to say in your storytelling? What's important to you? I often find that I'm talking to people about things that really personally affected them. And they bring that to the character and to the stories, much like you're hearing Dave talk about his experiences in evolving the animation he did with Clone Wars, what he's bringing to Ahsoka, and how much it means to him personally. And I think that that's the most important thing with any of the filmmakers we're working with, is to try to excavate that.
I appreciate that. One clap for Dave, and then thought that we're going to respectfully listen to the rest of the answer, and then everybody clapping. That was good. Of all the moments you've spent in Lucasfilm, what are some of your favorite tiny, just looking around and feeling like life is good moments? Celebration is one for me. When I look around here, I think life is good. Life is very good. But what is it for you, Kathy?
You know, I have to say it is celebration. I mean, I remember when I first started this job, George said to me, "You haven't been to a celebration yet, have you?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, you're about to go." And my first celebration was in Essen, Germany. And it was spectacular. I mean, every moment that I walked around, when I first ended up on the stage talking to Warwick, who was interviewing me, the whole thing was just surreal. And now it's become something I look forward to. And I know you guys too, and it's incredible to be able to share this with all of you.
Now, for the past few years, Star Wars has been primarily in TV series form on Disney Plus streaming. We've, of course, had an embarrassment of riches with The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, all of the animation. But there was some big news yesterday at the end of the Lucasfilm Showcase panel. We're making, in case you haven't heard, we're making the jump back to movie screens. There were some amazing guests yesterday, but one of the surprise guests for me was our own Daisy Ridley. A pretty fantastic moment. So, Kathy, I'm curious, why is it important to you to make that jump while continuing with series, but to make that jump back to the big screen?
You know, what was great for us in many ways is when Disney announced that they were going to move into streaming, to be perfectly honest, none of us really knew what that meant. I mean, I'd never done a lot of television. Jon Favreau had never done a lot of television. He and I were talking about The Mandalorian early on, but at the time, a lot of our discussions were around doing movies. And then obviously the world shut down with the pandemic. So our focus became on television. And what was interesting for all of us at Lucasfilm is we realized what an amazing opportunity to experiment and explore different stories and to do things, the saga, and not necessarily move in these different directions. And what this has ended up doing is it's created this rich landscape for us now to have new characters that we've developed that we can now look at moving into the movie space. And we can do this thoughtfully, and we can do this in a way that I think we can eventize stories again. And isn't that the most important thing in the movie theater? You want to feel like they're seeing something huge. So that's what we want to do, and we're as excited as you are to be heading back to the big screen.
I don't want to speak for the crowd, but I think they cannot wait. We're so excited to have you here. We're so excited to be back at Star Wars Celebration Europe today, and we know you're extremely busy, so we will let you get back to all of the amazing things that you're working on.
Well, thanks, and have a great rest of the weekend.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Our next guest began his journey with The Mandalorian, writing and directing the fan favorite episode, The Prisoner. Well, 3 years later, he's still writing and directing episodes, but is also executive producing the show as well. And he's being joined by the newest member of the Children of the Watch. Give it up for the multi-talented Rick Famuyiwa and Katie Sackhoff! I'm not gonna say it, I'm not gonna say it, I'm not gonna say it.
This is the way. I took your thunder.
You know? So say we all.
You gotta do it.
I had to. No, Katie.
You gotta do it.
Yes!
I mean, right?
Yep.
Have I taken up enough of the...
Listen, Katie was given lessons on that backstage, and I'm just saying, you should charge for it. You're great.
It takes a lot of effort to look like you're not putting effort into something. Little do they know, like, we sat there forever trying to figure out the right pose, and there were many tries before that one.
Yeah, that's the one that won.
That was a boss move, and we all know it.
Yeah.
And you're one of those people that can pull that off, and it does look super effortless, because you're you.
Good. Thank you.
Now, this season, Katie, we've seen your character dealing with a lot of internal struggles. How do you approach portraying Bo's subtext to the forefront?
You know, Bo's an incredibly complicated woman, you know, and I think this season the most important thing was I really wanted to start her in a place of complete loss. She'd given up. She's lost everything at this point, you know. She's lost her home, she's lost her people, she's lost her sister, she's lost the Darksaber, she's lost everything. And I think that she's second-guessing everything that she's done up to this point. And so I think that with Bo, it's literally just a lot of thought. There's so much thought. There's so much going through her head at every minute. And how do I do that? I just trust my beautiful director and make sure that the thing I'm going for is what's conveyed. You know, she had a really crazy arc this season, and we really wanted to hit every single beat to make sure that it was actually translating.
And I'm gonna let the applause finish because I love seeing people get their flowers. Now, Rick, you started your Star Wars journey as a director, but now you parlayed that into executive producing the series as well. What's it like to now have a larger say in the direction of the series?
It's been great to be on the show for as long as I have. I did the second episode of our show, and so I feel like each season I've had this great working relationship with John and Dave. They're both such incredibly collaborative, creative people. And so all along, there's been this, support of the filmmakers that come in to really flex and show and bring your point of view. And so that's always been very open to me. And so I've also was asked by John to write on the show on the first season and also write an episode the second season. So I've been a part of this process of being able to see the show from beginning to end, even before this season when I came on as EP. So I think it sort of became more of an organic process and that there was a lot of trust between us. And that's really, I think, where it came from. And so I'm excited to be a part of it. So.
Oh, it's your buddy. Now, Katie, how has your characterization of Bo changed from animation to live action?
Oh my gosh, so much. When I'm in the sound booth, I can just do whatever I want. I can move my body and my face in a myriad of different ways, and I don't have to worry about it as long as my face is doing it, or my voice is doing what it's supposed to do. And so it's almost, it's so much easier. I say that the days I'm in my helmet are actually easier days because I don't have to think so much. At that moment, it's just really just what is my body doing? Does it look right on camera? Big movements are usually better because it doesn't, your head doesn't really convey that much unless you're moving it a ton. And so in the booth, I just basically trusted Dave. So, it was much, much easier. And I don't know about y'all, but my face moves a lot. So the hardest thing for me to do is actually sit still and be as still as Bo, because in my head, I'm like, I'm on fucking Star Wars. This is crazy. Yeah. But she just looks cool all the time. I'm not that cool.
You are Katie Sackhoff. You are very cool. Remember who you are, girl, because we know. Now, Rick, the series has grown both in storytelling and in scale since the first season. What are some of the challenges in continually upping the ante while still maintaining overall quality?
I mean, we are making an incredibly ambitious show for television, and it's really something to be here in Star Wars Celebration because when we first started, we were the first series that was doing Star Wars in sort of television form. And now we have all these great shows that have come and grown from it. And I think with that, the ambition of each project, of each season grows and grows because the story grows, the expectations grow. But I think at the end of it, it's always been about this core relationship with Din Djarin and Grogu. And I think, I think we have just been trying to service that story of this, reluctant father figure and his child, and where that adventure has taken us has sort of pushed the show and pushed the boundaries of the show. And so, as that relationship has grown and Din Djarin has been on this journey to sort of do right by these decisions he's made, it's sort of forced us and put us in a position of having to make the show bigger, and that's taken us to different places. And this season is certainly a big example of that, because now it ain't just one Mando. There's a lot of Mando.
Now they get a mommy.
Yeah, there's a mommy. Exactly.
So we're gonna do this again. If Mando Mommy is not trending by the time we get off this stage, then we got problems. Now, Rick, I have another question. Being a fan of Star Wars, what's it been like for you to be able to help create new stories and characters for a whole new generation of fans?
I mean, wow is all I can say. I mean, the first film I saw in the movie theaters was Star Wars. That was my introduction into movies and to cinema, was through George Lucas's world, and I'm sure many people who are in this building can say the same thing, right? And so So I was sitting there as a kid with stories in my head and playing with my action figures and toys and every Halloween dressing up, and I had no idea that many, many years later, all that great research I was doing would come into me being a part of telling Star Wars stories. So it's been an amazing journey for me, And like Katie said, I think every day we walk on set and we see the amazing work from the incredible, talented magicians that help put the show together, whether it's the costume designers or the set people who build the sets, and you look at this world and you say, I'm in Star Wars, right? You go, it's streaming, right? I can say streaming, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Holy shit, I'm in Star Wars, right? Streaming.
Okay, Jody beat you to it.
So it's, so we always have to be like, okay, we get to do this. We have the privilege of being able to continue George's legacy, and we take it very seriously. But we're also fans in the same way, so we're excited that we get that opportunity.
Well, I'm really grateful. It's been an absolute honor to sit here and talk with both of you and to hear about playing in that great sandbox known as Star Wars.
Exactly.
But at first, do you guys have anything else you'd like to say to, I don't know, the fans here and at home?
Oh my gosh. Since my very first celebration in 2018, I have been accepted and brought into this community, and it has meant so much to me. This character is such a part of my life now, over 10 years, and to see her, come out of animation into live action and be accepted as much as she has, and is just, it still blows my mind. And I'm just so thankful to every single person that not only watches this show, but it's keeping Star Wars alive. So, thank you all so much.
Thank you all. Thank you so much for stopping by and for hanging out with us. We can't wait to see what you've got coming for us in the next couple of weeks.
You never know what you're going to see, but we're excited.
I just cannot believe how much is left for 2 episodes, because I know what we shot. My brain is like, there's only 2 left? Oh my God.
Well,
Y'all buckle up.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in the next 2 episodes, so we're really excited about it being out there. So
thank you guys so much, and we look forward to seeing it. This season has been a blast so far, and we cannot wait for more.
Enthralled with the daring series Andor, wondering where will the story go next and how can they possibly top the stellar first season? Here to hopefully give us a little more insight is the executive producer and showrunner for Andor, Tony Gilroy. And he brought someone else with him too. Andor himself, Diego Luna!
Crazy.
That is quite the reception.
Wow.
I think they like your show a little bit.
What?
Just a little.
What?
I think they like Andor. I'm just going to yell over the yelling. We're all very excited to have you here.
Wow, what a thing. Wow. All right. Saludos.
Now, the last time you were at a Star Wars celebration, Andor hadn't arrived yet. No one had seen it. What's it like getting this kind of reception today, but also just the fan reaction to season 1?
I'm gonna tell you, as a writer, I don't know how many other writers have ever just seen what I've seen. I'm gonna tell you, this is every writer's dream. And I know there's a few writers in this room, I'm sure. This does not happen. So, okay.
It's a little overwhelming.
This will not happen to you. It's not happening to me.
This is all a dream.
It's amazing. I mean, yeah. First of all, let me just say that you are amazing. I mean, this day has been very special. We worked really hard, you know, and we had an idea of the love around Star Wars, but there's no way to see this coming, you know, this energy of being around you after we deliver one season, and while we are working on the second one, this means a lot to see that you care about what we do. It's so special. Like, yeah. And we will, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to set and tell everyone what we went through, because this energy needs to spread on set. You know, everyone doing our Andor has to know that you guys care so much about what we do.
Hopefully some of them are watching it right now. Since we're live streaming, they can watch it from set. I know some folks are probably still working diligently today. Diego, I wanted to talk a little bit, go back to the beginning on Cassian for just a moment, and then we'll talk more about season 2, I hope, if you'll allow it.
Let's do that.
So Cassian, of course, we met in Rogue One. He's a completely different character than the Cassian we now know from Andor season 1. How do you handle that complexity of this character and still make him someone that I personally want to root for? Does everybody here want to root for Cassian Andor? Got some Cassian fans.
I think eso, sí.
Yes.
Eso, un saludo a todos los que hablan español por aquí, ¿eh? Que sé que son muchos. Gracias por su apoyo, la verdad. Qué chingón saber que están aquí. Sorry, I'm gonna switch to English. Basically, I think Cassian is just a regular guy, someone making choices in a world that is very difficult, you know, to survive in, and it's trying to succeed in finding what's there for him. I see just a regular guy that happens to be at the beginning of first season in this horrible circumstance, you know, there's no other way out, you know, and I believe
one way out.
Exactly. Wow. But I think Tony does something amazing in the way he writes that scene, where the moment where he chooses to pull the trigger, you know, there's no other way. There's nothing else he could do. And you are with him. And you know that his life is about to change in that moment. And we live it from, we're not judging it from the outside. We are with him, you know. He went there to look for
Absolutely.
his sister, and now he finds himself in this moment, and he has to do it. He has to do it. It's very dramatic, but it's also very realistic. How many times we found ourselves in a situation that we say, like, we don't want to be this person now, but we have to, you know. I love how it starts and how complex it makes the whole journey, you know. And it doesn't apply if you're looking for in storytelling for good and bad, you know, and to choose right away who's going to be the hero and who are you going to regret their actions. Well, this is not that serious. This is about people, real people, with their flaws and contradictions, and all of that is there from the start, you know.
Absolutely, and it all comes down to gorgeous writing, Tony. Gorgeous. I absolutely, personally love everything about what you've done with this series. But Diego, to your point, it is a difficult world. You've built a lot of duality into this. You give us a fresh perspective on the Empire, and we're also seeing behind closed doors of the Republic with what Mon Mothma is going through. Of course, Genevieve was just out here moments ago. What did you want to make sure that audiences understood deeply at their core, in their bones, about both of these factions, the Empire and the Republic, in a way that we had never seen before in previous Star Wars storytelling?
I want to engage you emotionally all the time. I want you to feel as if everything that you're seeing exists and that it exists off the frame. And everybody knows, I mean, everybody here knows all kinds of people. You know, the neighbor that you despise and the boss that you hate, or the children that you love, whatever it is. There's no division of heroes and villains in our lives. It's a distinction that we make based on what we feel. So the whole thing for me is I want you to live through all of them. You know, and the Empire is evil at its core for an evil purpose, but the practitioners of that, the people who make it happen, are ordinary people. I mean, we don't have to go back and, I mean, it's an easy analogy to the Nazis, but I mean, you go along, people go along. Well, it's sometimes you're making your purchase orders. Sometimes you're, you know, putting the next piece of the Death Star on the conveyor belt. I want you to live inside all of these people, and that's what I care about.
All right, I got to ask about that next piece of the Death Star on the conveyor as well. I'm sorry, spoilers, spoilers. It's okay. When did you come up with the idea that Cassian was literally building the thing that will ultimately kill him?
We had a very short 5-day writer's room with my brother Dan Gilroy and Beau Willimon and Luke Hull, who's our production designer, was there, and Zana Wallenberg was there watching. And we just blitzed through. I had about 100 pages of stuff, and the beginning and the end, but we wanted a prison, and we didn't want to do a prison, as I said before, we didn't want to do a prison unless we could do something absolutely spectacular and fresh, because there's so many great prison movies, and if we can't do it, then if we can't find something new. And at some point, I really don't remember, and they don't remember either, someone said, well, what about electric floors? And we're like, oh, well, what about this? And this prison started to emerge, this behavioral. And we went back the next day, and then we have to start figuring out what it is they're making and how many guys on the floor and what should it be like. And it's like building a watch. What are you going to do? And I think everybody kind of jumped on the idea right away. It's like, well, what if they're building... They picked up on it along the way. But we were really surprised at the number of people that were actually shocked by when we thought that would be, but it came up in the planning.
Diego, when did you find out?
I mean, it was pretty clear. I mean, and I happen to know the
He's a
writer.
producer on the show.
I happen to know the writer also. I tend to have dinners with him.
Yeah.
We
still
open
talking.
bottles of wine, you know,
still
and we
friends.
talk about life and what we're doing. And no, of course, I'm part of the process, which is a beautiful thing because, you know, as actors, you get there when things are already moving forward, when everything is designed and built, you know, and it's so nice to be part of a project when it's just ideas, when it's sketches. I've been witnessing the process of Luke, of Michael, of like the whole team, and it's a beautiful thing because the moment I'm on set, I own everything. You know, I understand why we are dressed the way we are, why we are sitting where we are, and if you have a question, you can make it when it's time. You know, there's so many things that like we actors do that are wrong, but one is like, oh, does it really have to be this table? And you go like, no, it is this table. We are shooting, you know?
Right.
So if you're going to question something, make sure it's time for that question to have an impact and an action, you know? And here I was invited from the beginning, which is great, yeah. I'm spoiled now.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the things I love most about Andor is the monologues. You one-upped yourself, I think, a couple of times where I thought, this might be the finest monologue I've ever heard in Star Wars. And then the next week, a new monologue. What makes for a good Star Wars monologue in your mind, Tony?
You know, and then to the writers out there, I mean, look, you have to have the musket has to be packed. I mean, there has to be some momentum behind it. So you can't just have somebody, I've done that though. I started a movie once with a monologue like that. But the person has to be in an emotional state to give it. You have to understand what it is they want to say, and it can't be some bogus thing that they just want to be speaking. It has to be worthy of the moment. But I'll be really honest with you. I've written a lot of them. I mean, we did Devil's Advocate, and I mean, I've written all kinds of, I've written a speech for the presidents and all kinds of things. They're not the most difficult thing to write, for me anyway. They're actually, they're not transactional. It's really about the potency of the ideas and what's there, but there are much getting 8 people in a room that you're introducing for the first time that are speaking together, that are trying to tell you something important, that's really difficult. Writing the scenes for Cyril and Edie, those little micro scenes, you know, getting on the frequency to write Cyril and Edie is in many ways more complicated than writing Andy Serkis's big speech at the end, because you know what he's got to say. And you know what, you know, I mean, and the poetry's the poetry, and you have time to think about it, but they're not, and you don't want to think of them as sporting events either. They have to be legit. You don't want to say, oh, I'm going to, you know, let's get one in here. It's not like that.
Yeah, put it in front of Stellan Skarsgård. It is legit.
It helps
becomes
to have
very legit very
Skarsgård.
quickly.
It helps to have Andy Serkis.
Absolutely.
That really gives you it helps to have Fiona Shaw.
Fiona Shaw, you know.
It gives you a big leg up.
When you mentioned Cyril Edie, who I love, I also couldn't help but think of Cassian and Marva, another mother-son duo from the show, and Fiona's amazing speech/monologue at the very end there in the final
Well,
episode.
I mean, that's like a gimme. You get to the point you go, oh my God, she's going to die, and we have a hologram. And we did the hologram with Mads and Rogue, so there was like, oh, you know, these things are really powerful. And like, oh my God, if you could give your own eulogy, it's sort of everybody's fantasy, isn't it? Maybe not everybody's fantasy, but certainly not everybody's family's fantasy to have your, yeah, Granny's going to tell you what she really thinks now. But boy, talk about packing the musket. I mean, and the whole key to that speech is, there's one line, what'd she say? Oh, I remember when I came here when I was like 9 years old with my sister and we held hands all the way. And you get that line and you write that line and you go, oh man, that's everything. So she's been coming here her whole life. They do this all the time. Even when I'm saying it, it breaks my heart, you know?
Yeah.
And so if it breaks your own heart, then it's gonna break somebody else's heart.
It broke my heart. It
Good.
broke my heart over and over and over again, and I just kept watching it anyway. Glutton for punishment. All right, I promised we would try to talk about season 2. So if we may, are we still excited about season 2? Yeah.
It's gonna be a short talk, right? I mean, you're not gonna get us anything. You're not gonna get anything from us.
Let's see.
We've been tested. You have the really cool swag jacket, but I don't know.
you.
And also the chair and the tools are really impressive. These
You see the.
are these torture
Oh,
season
now
2
we're
tools?
now we're just vamping a little bit, I think. I won't. I promise not to torture you.
All right, go
but
ahead.
Thank you.
isn't that heavy though? That is.
It is heavy. It is
Heft
heavy.
to it, right?
Yes, it's not. This is not a
That's
prop.
not a prop.
No.
This
We
is
should probably
definitely
glue that
not a
down.
prop. But anyway, yes.
All right. I know you can't tell us much, spoilers and all that, but Diego, I'll start with you. What do you have in store for us for season 2?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's simple. I just want to add something about the monologues. First of all,
Sure.
that I mean, the simple answer is that when Tony Gilroy writes them, something else happens, you know, and it's because of that. It's because he's writing from the heart. Like you don't write to break people's hearts. You write from the heart, and that breaks people's hearts, you know. So I think the monologues here are not about information. They're just about the soul, you know, of the characters, and it's the moment. They almost say what you already know. Anyway, I wanted to say that. Sorry, but season 2. It's the what am I gonna say? Nothing. It's the 4 years before Rogue One. It ends in the moment Rogue One starts. We're hoping you watch it and right away you see Rogue One. You'll see a different film. You'll see it through a different, you know, perspective. And you know that Cassian, so much has to happen to this character. He's in, but he doesn't know what he just stepped in. You know, he doesn't speak the language. He said, "Kill me or let me in," but now he has to find out what it means to be part of that and what's needed from him, you know, and become a spy, basically.
I can't believe you ended the season like that and then made us all wait.
Oh, God, well, we did.
How dare. No.
All right, I mean, everyone knows we're going to go 4 years, as he said. What can I tell you? I mean, think about the revolution and think about it from Luthen Rael's point of view and Saw Gerrera's point of view and Mon Mothma's point of view. And they've started off as original gangsters in this thing, and it's underground, and it's secret, and it's small, and it's isolated and contained. And now, in 4 years, it's going to go big. So think about any restaurant that you knew that started off as a coffee shop and turned. Think about any startup company. What happens? And things get very, very complicated. And if your stock and trade of your business is paranoia and secrecy and betrayal and heavy consequences, expanding your business is really difficult. And then think about it from the Imperial side, and they are getting very, very close to a very important energy project. People may have heard of it. It's an energy project. And so I guess that's not a surprise, but I think you'll see the wear and tear. You'll see all the stresses, all the heartbreak and all the triumph of the 20 or 30 people that we're carrying forward with Cassian at the center. You'll see those people stumble forward into a very complicated bit of chaos and history that we will pay attention to. So for the people that are here, you know, the people that are really care about canon and the people that are really, and this audience is just, you know, we're going to really try to, we're gonna work the calendar. There's events on our calendar, and you know what they are, some of them, and they're very important, and we will play those out. I will say one thing, because it is a moment of quiet and everybody's here. Like, this audience, not this audience, right? This is why we got to make the show. I mean, I mean, no, it's not, and it's not like it's not a bullshit. Like, I'm not like seriously. When you leave, whatever else, you are investors in our show in a way you don't even understand, because it's your passionate, insane loyalty that gave Disney the guts to gamble on something like this. If we don't have you, we can't play this hard.
Well said. Well said.
So I'm not telling you anything else.
That's it. That's all right. Andor season 2, it's complicated. Thank you both so much for being here.
I need to interrupt you because I
You are
also,
more than welcome
I have
to
a feeling you're about to kick us out. You started like that, you know, like
Sorry to play you
when
off,
you
I
start
know.
like, oh well, you go like shit. I'm gonna be in my car in minutes, and I know this is because this gets to be seen everywhere in Latin America. Un saludo a todos en América Latina. Este evento fue en Londres, pero desde aquí les mando un abrazo y les agradezco a nombre de todo el equipo de Andor el apoyo, el cariño, y estamos ya haciendo la temporada 2 gracias a que ustedes vieron el show. Así que muchísimas, muchísimas gracias. There's even Mexican flags here. What is this? Sorry.
No,
You were
no,
saying.
absolutely no. You know, if it were up to me, we would just continue talking all day, but unfortunately it's not. Thank you both so much. Gracias for being here. I know you have a whole season of television to work on, so we are going to let you go, but Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.